Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 3 of our how to make a Minecraft mod pack. If you're new to the series, we are working on making a mod pack for Minecraft 1.7.10 in probably the most detail I could possibly manage. So if you just stumbled across this video, make sure you go back to the channel, start from the beginning, as we do cover everything in a lot of detail, I'm not kidding. For those of you that are here because you're following the series already, let's go ahead and look at some ID conflicts. Okay then guys, jumping straight in, I have created a new mod pack called Conflicts, just for the demonstration purposes here. It's nothing special, it's just got Forge and a couple of mods prepared that I know for a fact definitely conflict, because I've had to deal with it with my Lordcraft pack. And of course we have the code chicken course that we can run not enough items so that we can generate an ID dump, which we did cover in the last episode. I will quickly just do that here, because I don't think I've generated the dumps yet, so we may as well just kind of recap on that right now. I need a new chair, this chair sucks. So we'll recap just now and generate a new dump, just for those of you who've kind of skipped over. It only takes a moment, but you will need not enough items in order to do it. And let's go ahead and make this a bit bigger so you can see. Okay, we need to go to options, tools, data dumps. Yep, should be on all. I think by default they're on used. Set them to all and just hit dump, dump, and dump. For potions, enchantments, and biomes. Items and blocks doesn't matter. I don't actually know what the item panel is, I've never really needed to use it. And that will give us some ID dumps. This will close on its own as soon as it's finished closing. There we go. Then we can jump over to our instance folder, and there they are in the dumps. So just as we covered in the last episode, we can generate ID dumps. So here's all the IDs for Minecraft. There's no mods installed, so these are all the vanilla Minecraft enchantments, their names and such. So what we got here, these are damage. So I'm assuming that is sharp. No, it's not sharpness, is it? That'll be the Bane of Arthropods, all that stuff, yeah. All that junk. So yeah, everything's in here, and we can use these IDs to kind of look at other conflicting IDs from other mods that are being added. So we've got protection, water. They've got weird names. Water worker. Okay. Yeah, we've got very strange names, but we don't need to worry about what the names are, so we don't really care. So we have our dumps. So I'll minimise this, and what we're going to do is install some mods. I highly recommend installing mods one at a time going into the game. If you manage to get into the game without crashing, do another dump, because it makes it so much easier. I know it's slow and I know it's tedious, especially when you got a good number of mods. That's why it's taken me so long to do Lordcraft, but you will save yourself such a headache if you just do it slowly. Generate the dumps after each mod so you've got an up-to-date ID list. Just don't stamp on your own toes, basically. Just do it one by one. However, in this case, for demonstration, we already know what we're doing. We already know where the problem is, so I'm just going to throw them all in there. There is a conflict between aquaculture and forbidden magic, and the reason I've got Formcraft installed is because forbidden magic is an add-on to Formcraft, so that's why that's there. Aquaculture adds a few enchantments to fishing rods, and forbidden magic adds enchantments that use the same ID. So now that we've enabled these and we click play, we're going to get a lovely screen saying, no, you're not allowed to play, there's a problem, deal with it. And then we are going to deal with it. So we'll just give us a moment to get halfway through, and then it should crash. There we go. It's completely crashed. Game exited with exit code -1. That doesn't tell us anything. There is a game crash report that we can go and check out, but a lot of the time you don't need to. A lot of the time we can just scroll up to where the error begins. So that is just here. Here we are. We can see that we've loaded up forbidden magic. Then all of a sudden the following problems were captured during this phase. So we kind of know that something's going on with forbidden magic straight away, because that was the last thing that was loaded. And then it says there was a caught exception from aquaculture. So we now know that there's a problem between forbidden magic and aquaculture. If we look at the next line, it's telling us straight away there's a duplicate enchantment ID, and the enchantment in question is magnetic. So it does tell you stuff, it's a case of just reading through. It's even telling us the actual ID here, which is 69. And we can see it's an enchantment required for fishing pole and all this stuff. And then the rest of it kind of isn't important. It's a lot of stack tracing for developers that we don't really need to worry about. If we go down a bit further, we can see it says the same thing again. Duplicate, exactly same thing. And I'm a crashaholic. Yes, you are. So now we know what the problem is. So we're going to close this down, and we're going to go into our config folder. And because we've read through that carefully, we now know that there's a conflict between aquaculture and the forbidden magic. So if we go ahead and open aquaculture, and let me just make this a bit smaller, that's not necessarily big at the minute, and we can also open up forbidden magic because we know that there's a problem between the two, and the chances are there's more than one conflict. So for instance, if I just go ahead and open up the dump, for instance, let's go ahead just to demonstrate. So if I open up enchantment, open, yeah, okay. See, this is where we're going to have a bit of an issue. 69, according to this, is empty, but we know it's not, and this is why it's important to install one mod at a time and generate that dump, because now I've got an out-of-date ID list. Some of these IDs are going to be taken, I'm not going to know about that. We know that 69 is taken, 69 is the one that's conflicting, so I can't stress enough, just do one mod at a time, do the dump, and it'll save you from having a massive headache and money being spent on paracetamol and stuff later on, okay? For now, we're just going to go straight to the bottom. Let's say 255. We've only got 2 free mods installed. 255 has to be available. So let's go ahead and we will change the ID 69 to 255. Now I can always guarantee that even though we've changed that ID, we're still going to crash, and a different enchantments now go into conflict. So we're going to use our knowledge that we know both of the mods, and then we're going to compare the IDs from both of the mods configs so that we don't have to keep changing one ID, loading up the game to find that something else is conflicting like we're doing right now. This is going to be a pain to do that, especially if it's a magic mod that adds a great deal of enchantments. So if we go straight back up, just as before, duplicate ID. Well, now we've got the long cast. Now the long cast bloody things conflicting. So ID 70 next. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to change 70 to 254, load up again, and then there's going to be 71 that conflicts, and it's a waste of time. So we're going to use the knowledge that we've already gained from here, the fact that we've tried to load forbidden magic. It might not always be this way, so don't always sort of go with the last mod. Especially as you get more and more mods, it might not always be this simple, so just be aware of that. Again, this is why dumping will come in handy, because it's not always going to tell us, and there might be times where you might have to do it one ID by one after the other and do all this. But in this instance, while it's early stages, we know forbidden magic was the last thing that was loaded, and then straight after that is when we had the crash. So there's obviously something between aquaculture and forbidden magic. So with that knowledge in mind, we can load up both as we already have done. Yeah, blah blah blah, and we can say, right, okay, so we can compare the two. So 60, we've got 68 here. Is 68 taken in here? Yeah, it is. So there's a conflict. So let's change you to, we did what, 255. So let's do 254. 69 we've already changed. About 71. Is there 71 in here? Nope, that's not a conflict. Then 70. Yep, that's a conflict. So let's change you to 253. And what else we got? 66. Are you in there? Yep, so 66. Let's change you to 252. Oops, no, not 352. 252. What else we got? We just did 66, didn't we? About 73. Nope. 72 and 67. No, we should now be free of conflicts, hopefully. So we've used both configs to our advantage, and we've used the dump. We could have used the dump to our advantage if we had done it one by one, but I kind of wanted to reiterate the point that if you don't, then we kind of have to fall back to other methods, and they're not always reliable. So let's go ahead and load up the game, and hopefully we shouldn't have any more conflicts, and we should end up in game without a problem. Hopefully. Otherwise I'll look like a liar and look like I don't know what I'm doing, which could be bad. Okay, we seem to be doing good. There we go, we're in game. Great. So let's just go into big screen. And because things are working, again, I'm going to keep stressing it, generate the dumps. So let's go ahead. Oh, I'm looking at the sky. Right. Options, tools, dump, and dump, dump, and dump. Close that back down. Quit. And this will close on its own once it's finished. There we go. I'm going to go back to those dumps real quick just to take a quick look. Dumps, enchantments, yeah, whatever. So now if we have a look, we will see we have, what mod were they from? They should now be down here. There we go. 252, 53, 54 and 55. And we can see that they're from agriculture, and it was the double hook, long cast, heavy line and magnetic. So if we didn't sort of read those the error logs, we might have had to have restarted our game 4 times to realise that there was 4 ID conflicts. And also, without doing those dumps, we kind of would have had to have guessed ID conflicts. Like in this instance, I did guess. Technically, I went straight for 255 and assumed that it was going to be available. But when you've got a lot of mods, that's not always the case. In fact, bear with me. I'm going to generate a fresh dump from Lordcraft and just show you just how many IDs are available. Okay, guys, to quickly demonstrate first what happens when there's an ID conflict, I'm going to install Evilcraft, because I know that adds a biome, and then I'm going to deliberately make it conflict with a vanilla biome, and then we're going to load up a vanilla biome that uses that biome to demonstrate what happens. So we'll just load this up real quick, because I need it to generate the config for Evilcraft, and that should now be done. It's always a good idea to check the config of every mod you've just installed. Sometimes there's settings in there that you were unaware of, and they can help. What am I doing? Config. There we go. Evilcraft, yeah. And there we are. Biome. And I never knew Evilcraft had biomes until I looked in the config, because I make a habit of having a look through the configs, because sometimes there's features you might want to change that you didn't know about. For instance, the XP teleporter mod. Usually it would charge you 20 experience levels to teleport between 2 teleporters, or 30 experience levels to teleport interdimensionally. However, when I looked in the config, there was a setting that only charges you the experience levels to actually link the teleporters and not to use them, which I preferred. But I never knew about that setting until I looked in the config. So looking in the config after you install a mod might open up like some features that you were unaware of, or you might realise that there's a biome ID and that there's biomes available. So it's a good idea to have a look at any config. So the biome here for the degraded biome is 105. I'm going to deliberately change it to 1, which is the ID for vanilla Minecraft's plains biome. And I didn't really need to close that, to be honest. Let's just go ahead and we will load up what do you call it? A flat world, because that uses the plains biome by default, and it should be covered in degraded biome from Evilcraft, hopefully, unless that biome is something a bit too special and it's going to cause it to crash. We'll soon find out, I suppose. Super flat, create. Let's have a look. Okay, it's doing something. Oh, there we go. Yep, it's definitely not the plains biome, is it? Because it's all purple and messed up. And if I press F3, there you go, degraded. So that's what happens when there's an ID conflict. It didn't crash, nothing told us, there was absolutely no notice whatsoever. Even in here, don't think it actually tells you, I've never seen it tell me. Nope, everything's normal. We got up to here, changing view distances, we're loading into the game, blah blah blah. Loaded the mods, blah blah blah, server side here, blah blah. Yep, we logged in at this point here. Joined the game. That was it. There's nothing in here that tells us about a biome conflict. Now I know in this particular instance is obvious, not just because we deliberately did it, but because, well, this isn't a plains biome. However, when you've got a mod in that adds a lot of biomes, like biomes of plenty, it's not always immediately obvious, because you might have to travel around before you ever spot that biome, and even then you might not realise what the biome's from, and it's not always obvious. So looking in the config to see if there are biomes in the config will let you know that that mod does actually add biomes, especially if it's a mod that you've never used before. Like in my case, Evilcraft genuinely was a mod I'd never used before. I had no idea it added a biome. And then what you could do is, oops, I know what I forgot to do, take the dump. We need the dump. So tools, data dumps. Although to be fair, if I dump this right now, it's gonna give me the ID 1 of degraded. So I'll just quickly set that back and create a dump with the normal biome ID, which was what, 105? I forgot to note it. I'm pretty sure it was 105, right? Okay, yeah. So I'm just gonna quickly pause, reload the game, and get an accurate dump with that ID. So just okay, guys. So I've generated that dump, and here we go. Just load back in, blah blah blah. Yep, and ID 105. Yep, is indeed the biome degraded from Evil Craft. Great. Okay, so in order to do this, try and get it easy for us, what we're going to do is when it comes to loading mods, again, load one mod at a time. It makes it a hell of a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead and do biomes plenty. I'm going to play, and I'm going to show you a habit that I do that helps me spot biome conflicts a little easier, because missing them can be an absolute nightmare. As I've kind of already demonstrated, we don't want degraded biomes all over the overworld, do we? Okay, so we've installed the mod, and I'm not going to do anything yet. Now that we've installed biomes plenty and we're in the game, that should have generated for us the config file. So I'm going to go to instances, conflicts, Minecraft dumps. I'm going to open my biomes. As you may have noticed that I've not dumped yet, because if I do that, it's going to overwrite everything in here with biomes plenty, and that's not what we want before we take the dump. We really want to take the dump of the biomes when we know that there's no conflicts. So what we're going to do is open up the config for biomes plenty and see if there's any IDs available, which we know there is for biomes plenty. But for instance, it could have been Evil Craft. And then what we're going to do is we're going to compare the IDs in here, if I make it small enough, with IDs in here, which can be a bit of a tedious thing. So like 104, is 104 taken? You know, we'd scroll down to 104. No, it's not. However, I am seeing I've just spotted it. Where has it gone? 105. That's a conflict. That's going to conflict with our biome degraded. So I could change this to something else. Could be 106, but I'm going to assume that 106 is probably taken in here. There's 107, 108, 106. Yeah, it is indeed taken. So what I'm going to have to do is kind of see. There's a little bit of guesswork because we've not been able to generate a new one. It might actually be easier in this particular case to just get rid and instead change the Evil Craft one, because it's easier and simpler. And what I'm going to do is, nothing is using anything way down the bottom, hence why I put it down at the bottom. I'm going to change it to 255, and at this particular point we now know that there's no more conflicts, and now I'll be happy to go ahead and create that dump. Now this is quite an easy example because it was only one ID that conflicted, but in a minute I'm going to add Twilight Forest, and that's where there's going to be more conflicts. So, but now that I'm happy that I know that I've dealt with that one conflict by simply checking the config and comparing it with an accurate, up-to-date data dump, I can now go ahead and do a new dump knowing that that's accurate and there's no conflicts in there. I hope that makes sense because it's quite a weird way of doing it, I know. So let's close that down, and then finally we can go ahead and, once you've closed yourself, there we go, edit the instance, load of mods, and now we can go and chuck in Twilight Forest, close, and again we're going to load that up, but we're not going to do anything with the dump. So I'm going to get the dump ready. This should now have all the new stuff on it. Yep, there we go, lots and lots of biomes plenty stuff. Evil Craft should be, actually no, it's not at the bottom. Why is it not at the bottom? Did I make a mistake? Or did I not? Ah, yeah, we had to reload the game again, didn't we, first, for that config change to take effect. I'm an idiot. I should have done that before I loaded up Twilight Forest, so don't make that mistake. It's quite an easy one to make. I've done it a few times. Because I changed the config file, I had to reload the game for that config to take effect, then come in and retake the dump beforehand. So double check these things, because that could have been a bit of a pain. I love juice. It's still chucking it down with rain outside, and it's still so hot. Boiling. Okay, so now that we've reloaded the game, that config change should have taken effect. go ahead, options, tools, data dumps, and dump. And you can go away and close. And let's make sure, what am I doing? Dumps, make sure, always double check. Now we should have all the biomes aplenty. 105 should now be biomes aplenty. Yep, it's now the Canyon Ravine, and Evilcraft is now down at degraded. Now we're happy that there are no problems. So now that we are happy with that, we can go and put in Twilight Forest and just do this as a habit with every mod that you install. Check the config, see if they add any biomes. If they do, compare them with your current biome list before you do that dump, and make sure that there are no conflicts. And we'll do it again now with Twilight Forest, just to demonstrate one last time, and then I think we're good with ID conflicts. The only thing I can't show you is dimension ID conflicts, because you may have noticed there wasn't anything to dump dimension ID conflicts. But again, you can resolve these issues by simply looking at the config, keeping your own personal list of dimension IDs, and look up on the internet what the default vanilla ones are. Like 0 is the overworld. All that information is available. It's not too difficult to do. Dimension conflicts are fairly rare, unless you're deliberately installing a lot of mods that add a ton of dimensions. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I know Abyssalcraft adds some of its own dimensions, but the Aether, Erebus, but I don't really use mods that add dimensions that much. Not really my scene. But anyway, now that I've done this, that will, before we get carried away, I'm losing track. Oh, I don't know why I keep closing down these damn directories, because it's such a long thing. Instances, conflicts, Minecraft, and config. Twilight Forest. Okay, so we've got some Twilight Forest IDs, and this is why, again, I haven't generated a dump yet, because we don't know yet if there's any conflicts. So this is a dump without Twilight Forest being in it, which will make it easier for us to compare, here we go, to compare the actual conflict. So I can see 49. If I scroll down to 49, way past it, there we go. 49, yeah, it's taken by Cherry Blossom, so we know that that's a problem. So let's go to 254, because we know 255 is the max, and 255 is currently occupied with Evilcraft. And then again, we've got 55. 55 is also taken, so I'm going to drop that down to 253. 53 also taken, so I'm going to drop it to 252, and you'll find that most of these actually do conflict. 52 is also taken, so 25. My bad, I made a mistake there. 251. 56, yep, it's also taken, so that's 250. 57 also taken. 249. And at this rate, it would be easy to just go and do them, but I'm just kind of demonstrating. But every single one of these is indeed conflicting. So I'm just going to go oops, wrong bit. 248, 247, 246, 45. Oops. Nope. So 243, 24. God, I can't type anymore. It's getting really late. It's like 12:30, gone midnight. Yeah, I'm getting pretty tired, but I want to get this video out because it's been a while since I've done anything in the series. And I do enjoy this series, and I hope you guys are as well. Like I say though, just leave comments and make sure to thumb the video up and stuff. So long as I know people are watching it and they're finding it useful, then I'm happy to continue with it. And it's nice to do some different content that's still related to gaming, but isn't necessarily gaming itself. So it is a nice change to sort of break it up and have something new on the channel. It's still obviously Minecraft related. So there we go, I've changed all of these IDs, and as you can see here, it also adds a dimension because it's the Twilight Forest. This is what I mean about checking configs. You could note this down in a notepad, and then whenever you find another one that says ID 7, you put it in a notepad and you'll know it's conflicting. That's the only way to really check for dimension ID conflicts at the moment. So that has changed again. We can't do the dump yet. We need to reload for those config changes to take effect. And when we're doing that, can go away. Let's go and play. Minecraft takes too long to load. You should see how long Lordcraft takes to load. It takes about 3 minutes. Not even kidding. 160 mods though. It's pretty hefty. Okay, we are now back in the game. Options, tools, data dump, biome dump, and we are finally finished. And we have no conflicts to speak of whatsoever. Let's just quickly go one last time into the instance folder, dumps, biomes, and now we have all of our biomes aplenty sat nicely without anybody getting in his way. And down the bottom we have our evil craft and all of our Twilight Forests. Also no conflicts, no one's getting in their way. Everyone's happy, we're happy, mod pack's happy, people playing the mod pack's happy, everyone is happy. So guys, I hope that you found this video useful. If you did, again, thumbs up, comment, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow and obviously extend its reach. You can also find me on Votable, Twitter. I don't use Google Plus that much, to be honest, because it seems that most of you don't. But if you contact me on there, it comes through to my phone, so I will still get your messages. So yeah, Twitter, Votable, Planet Minecraft. There's a couple of schematics on there, though I have been neglecting them a lot. So feel free to follow me on any of those and stuff. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. God, I don't think I've ever said dump so much in my life. Seriously, if the neighbours can hear us from the other side of the wall, they're going to think I've got some right weird fetish. I think it's dumb.